Roguelike and roguelite games are pretty much part and parcel of the indie gaming scene now, but more often than not they struggle to stay close to the hardcore challenging roots. This is why it pleased me so much to see that Wizard of Legend stay true to its origins, offering challenging gameplay, a repetitive grind and some downright awesome combat. The game starts with you controlling a wizard through a museum. It doesn't take long to realise that this museum is completely based on wizardry, and more specifically the Chaos Trials. These brutally challenging trials are a yearly event in the land of Lenova, and an opportunity for upcoming wizards to prove their power and become Legend of Wizard. Although I really enjoyed the opening moments of the game and how the museum acted as a non-handhold tutorial, I did question the depth Wizard of Legend would offer when I realised just how short the trials looked. Made up of just 6 dungeon style sections, 3 bosses and a final area, I didn't feel a great sense of warmth towards what I assumed to be a small and linear amount of content, but just like always, I was pretty wrong. Now, there's no denying that Wizard of Legend is linear. I mean, gameplay plays out like a classic dungeon crawler, but it's far from shallow. Although the game is billed as a roguelite, it most definitely steers more towards the roguelike genre. When you die, you start from the beginning with no progression towards a new level, no new abilities and almost nothing carrying over except a few chaos gems. Although this brutal approach to the game's progression will no doubt put players off and may also feel very grindy, it also fits in perfectly with how Wizard of Legend's combat is set up. The game offers 2 main collectibles that change how the game plays, Relics and Arcana. Relics are your general type of collectible and offer different passive abilities to help you in your quest to overcome the trials. Although these help in a small way to mix up the gameplay, they are way off the impact the different Arcana throw your way. This Arcana acts as your main abilities when taking on the myriad of enemies in the trials, and although all this sounds pretty bog standard, it's the way they stack to create brilliantly satisfying combos that play out in wonderful explosions of pixel artwork that feel special. Before delving into the trials, you are able to equip 4 different Arcana. You can equip a further 2 if you choose to purchase them in the dungeons. There are 2 ways to purchase new Arcana and Relics. Firstly, you can use your precious Chaos Gems that slowly stockpile from every attempt of the trials. Secondly, you can use gold acquired on a run to buy them from a vendor who set up shop in the trials themselves. Buying items from the in-trial vendors will no doubt help you on your quest for wizardry perfection, but death will also see them swiftly following your progression and gold down the pan. I actually really liked this approach to the currency balance. Buying Arcana with throwaway gold offers an almost try before you buy option to the Arcana, allowing you to literally test it in action before dropping your hard-earned gems on a new ability. Another area where the in-trial vendors mix things up is by allowing you to stack more relics and Arcana. Before setting off in the Chaos Trials, you're allowed to equip 4 Arcana and 1 relic, but there are actually 6 Arcana slots available and an unlimited cap on the number of relics you can stack. The ability to over-equip in the trials themselves brings a real sense of tangibility to the gold as a currency. So often I would be torn between buying a disposable health potion or a semi-permanent relic, adding a slightly deeper RPG element to the gameplay. There is part of the game's excellent combat system that I do feel is a little shallow, and that's the lack of loadouts. Each of the trial sections is made up of different elemental enemies and a final elemental boss. The order in which these play out is randomly generated every time you start a new trial, which can bring a rather annoying sense of randomness. For example, I spent all of my hard-earned gems on kitting my wizard out with a pretty powerful fire set of Arcana and a fire relic to go on top. However, my next 3 run-throughs of the trials all started with the fire section, and although this doesn't have a huge disadvantage with general NPCs, it does make the elemental boss almost impossible to defeat. If the game offered the ability to build custom Arcana loadouts, it would sit better in its roguelite subgenre, as the progressions that carried over would be the building of your different elemental loadouts. In the end, it took me a whopping 49 attempts at the Trials of Chaos to become Wizard of Legend, and I thoroughly enjoyed my time in almost every single run. The lack of loadouts combined with the random order of the elemental trials can bring some frustration, especially around the 20th to 30th run, but once you found a combat combo that suits you and have a firm grip on the game's enemies and more challenging elemental bosses, then becoming Wizard of Legend is a lot of challenging fun. To see more on the Wizard of Legend, then why not check out the first 20 minutes of gameplay available now? And to keep up to date with more indie game content, make sure you subscribe and check out indie-credible.com.